The US House of Representatives is currently in recess, sent home for summer break early in a bid by Republicans to quell the disquiet over President Trump's handling of the Epstein affair. And some members of Congress have used this time to travel to Brussels to express their concern about the EU's Digital Services Act.
Yes, that group is led by Jim Jordan, chair of the House Judiciary Committee, which issued an interim report last week claiming the act is a censorship mechanism which threatens free speech in the United States. The European Commission says the main goal of the act is to prevent illegal and harmful activities online and stop the spread of disinformation. Well, the US delegation is now in London expressing similar concerns about the UK's Online Safety Act. I spoke to Congressman Jordan a little earlier, but began by asking for his response to the UK government's intention to recognise a Palestinian state in September if certain conditions aren't met.
Well, I think it's problematic if there's a Palestinian state. I mean, Hamas, Hezbollah, they have pledged to annihilate and wipe Israel off the map. I think given statehood to folks who have that as their stated goal is a problem. Israel is one of our dearest, in the United States, one of our dearest and closest friends, like the United Kingdom. Israel knows that this is not workable, and Israel has had to deal with, of course, the terrible events, the just disgusting events of the terrorist attack on October 7th, now almost 2 years ago. So look, I think that's just, in my mind, not feasible, not the right course of action. Obviously, the United Kingdom can take the position they want, but I disagree with it.
Do you see this, though, as an attempt by the UK to get more pressure placed on Israel with regards to aid? Now, we saw France say that it's going to recognise a state of Palestine at the United Nations General Assembly in September. President Trump said that that didn't carry weight. Do you think the UK's announcement, or indeed the cumulative effect of these two announcements, will carry more weight and influence potentially the president's conversations with the Israeli Prime Minister?
No, I think there's a special relationship between the state of Israel and the United States. I think the president is right. I don't think that's going to carry the day in the United Nations, and I certainly hope it doesn't carry the day. What I hope is this conflict ends, that all hostages are back that were taken by Hamas, and that Israel can operate and function without having this constant terrorist threat all around them, and can continue to thrive as a country.
Turning then to the EU's Digital Services Act, and I know that you agree with many of the aims of that act, but why do you see it as a threat to free speech in the USA?
Well, because 11 months ago, the EU Commissioner, Mr. Breton, sent a letter, and the very first sentence of the letter is actually sent to Elon Musk, and it said, we write you, and the catalyst for these events, or the context, are the events that are going on in the United Kingdom. So, and it was about his upcoming interview with presidential candidate President Trump. And I'm thinking, you have the EU writing an American about an American company who's getting ready to do an interview with the regarding an American election, the most important election for President of the United States, and he's citing as the pretext and the context for sending that a non-EU country, the United Kingdom. And like that in and of itself, I think describes that this is going to have and already is having an effect on Americans and Americans' First Amendment free speech rights. So that's why we're primarily concerned. But in a general sense, we're concerned about free expression. We had a witness last year in our Congress last year in front of our committee. She's a journalist from Canada, Rupa Subramanya, and she had covered the trucker strike and issue back during COVID. And I thought she was such a good witness. But one of the lines that stuck with me was when she said, the hallmark of Western civilization is the ability to debate, to have free speech, free expression. And if we lose that, if you can't settle disputes via debate, well, we all know the alternative is terrible. So that is a key concern. And then we in America have a First Amendment where we have 5 fundamental rights: our right to practice our faith, our right to assemble, right to petition the government, free press, free speech. And the most important one of those is the free speech right.
Yeah, how how is that complaint that you're outlining, how is that any different from the White House's decision to ban Associated Press earlier this year from the White House press pool for not following President Trump's executive order to rename the Gulf of Mexico as the Gulf of America? Associated Press saying that was an attack on freedom of speech.
Well, the press can still write what they want. You can't let everybody into some room and some meeting in the White House press briefing room, for goodness sake. That's not an attack on the press. That's just saying who's going to be in the room. And for years, all kinds of outlets were kept out of the room. So that is, I think, entirely different, because the AP can still write the stories they want to write. They can still be as biased as they want to be. They just maybe not be in the room and get a chance to hear it maybe firsthand, but they can still, I think, have freedom of the press.